rabbi of Tunisia, very great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Haim Madar. Zeche Tzadik Libracha. I don't think we've mentioned him on many occasions before here in the series, and he very much was one of the later great rabbis of Tunisia. There's not such a big community nowadays, as we know, but was a chief rabbi nonetheless for 20 years. 1933. He passed away on the 3rd of December 2004. Now, to give his full title, it was Rabbi Haim Madar. He was a Schucht rabbi that performs kosher slaughter. He was a Sopher, a scribe, Sopher stam. He was also a Mora, an educator. He was a Posek. He was a rabbi that rendered various different Jewish laws. People came to him asking questions and shailot, and he was a chief rabbi of Tunisia for a staggering around over 20 years, I believe it was, approximately. Now, let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, much can be said within regards to him. Now, he was born obviously in 1933 in the island of Werba in Tunisia over there. I think to be precise, it was the 11th of Adar of that year, Hey Tafresh Tzadik Gimel. And very, very interesting enough. And I think there was a family connection to Rab Bogit Chanina Sa'adon, if I'm not mistaken. And so on and so forth. And Rab... that was, I think, from his mother's side, and to Rabbi Madar. I think that must have been his father. I'll have to double check on that. Now, while he was young, he would learn Torah under the auspices of another great rabbi, Rabbi Raphael Kadir Saban, a rabbi we've spoken about towards the start of this series, which we started, of the great rabbanim, going back about 3 years ago. So he would learn over there under the auspices of Rav Saban. Rav Saban himself was himself a gigantic, great rabbi. He was, I think he lived between the years 1909 to 1994. He was also, after he was a rabbi in Tunisia, he would serve as a rabbi of Netivot and was part of the chief rabbinic council and also the president of Yeshivat Kisei Rachamim. Remember, we spoke about Yeshivat Kisei Rachamim, which was under the Rosh Yeshiva quite recently was Rabbi Meir Mezuz. He passed away, I think, just after Pesach of this year, around that specific point in time also. So he learned under the auspices of Rabbi Raphael Kadid Saban, and then afterwards he learned Gemara under auspices of Rav Shaul Makikat Sheli, another great rabbi we've spoken about. He would learn then afterwards under auspices of Rabbi Shlomo Mezuz, another great rabbi of his time, and also Rabbi Kamosa Kohen, and also the famous Rabbi Rachamim Chai Chayuta HaKohen. Now, we actually recorded a video about Rabbi Chayuta HaKohen. I think also at one stage in time, he himself was a Rosh Yeshiva, I believe, in Tunisia. He was, I think, a chief. He had a huge role in Werba as a chief rabbi of the Bet Din over there, and was one of the most prominent rabbis over there. He was a distinguished student, also most famously, of Rab Kalfon Moshe Kohen, and was a successor of him at the time, I think, when he emigrated Eretz Yisrael. Very interesting enough, I think he dwelt in the Moshav, respectively. Rab that was his rabbi also. Now, when he was young, he would also learn, I think, to become a shochet, kosher slaughter, under Rabbi Yosef Haddad, another great rabbi. Remember, there was many great rabbis from the Haddad family in Tunisia, and he'd learn about the hilchot, about shechita, kosher slaughter, and treifot, under Rabbi Chayuta Sofer, another great rabbi. And when he was only 20 years of age, he would start to work as a Mora to various different students at the synagogue, the Beit Knesset, called the Rabbi Menachem Hori Synagogue. He would learn over there. Now, he was about 25 years of age. He would get married, I think, to the daughter of Rabbi Bogid Sadan, as we mentioned before. And this was, I think, in Werba. And they would have, I think, 2 children, if I'm not mistaken. He would continue working at that point in time as a shochet and a sofer, a scribe. He'll be a ktivat, sofer, Svarim, Tilim, Mezuzot, respectively. He was also, it says over here, V'chen haya ma'avad orot klap gior v'goyim, and also he would be also working in tefillin and writing, respectively, with regards to that. Now, in 1962, I think, sadly, his wife passed away, very, very sadly, and I think she suffered from illness beforehand. And I think come 1967, 5 years later or something, he would get married the second time in the city of Ziz, I believe. and I think to the daughter of Rabbi Boaz Haddad, and they would have, I believe, 7 children, if I'm mistaken, it was. And he continued working inside the synagogue then of Rabbi Abraham Haddad, and I think there was a yeshiva base there also. Come what 1969, he would return to being part of the Beit Knesset, the synagogue, Rabbi Menachem Achori, and I think he would be continuing working in as an educator there in the Torah field, totally in the Rabba Gadol Shel Jerba, the great Jewish square, let's just say, of Jerba, until the year 1972. Now, after I think the passing of the rabbi of Tunisia, I think it was someone named Rabbi Faraji Vazan, I believe, in the year 1985. This was. There was a request to Rabbi Madar to work as, I think, in the capital of Tunisia, if I'm not mistaken, and fill his position, Rabbi Faraji Vazan's position as the head rabbi over there. He would, I think, initially agree to this for a short period of time. This was, and I think at that point in time, I think the community itself in Jerba and in Tunisia was beginning to shrink more and more. It was becoming less, and he would go to travel around all over Tunisia at that point in time, and had various different roles, also connecting, I think, very much the president of Tunisia. He was close to dignitaries of Tunisia at that point in time. I think he would eventually stay there for a 20-year period, a long period of time. Instead of being a short period of time, he would actually be there the whole time, the Rabbi of Tunisia. And he was a part of this role, I think, for 20 years, as I said before. Now, I think he spent his last days in Israel. He passed away, I think, in Shaare Zedek Hospital, Shaare Zedek Medical Center, based in Jerusalem, quite near Beit Kerem, in December 2004. I think the 20th of Kislev would have marked the famous rabbi's Hilula. So he left there, over there at that point in time. And I believe at the time of passing, he would have been about 71 years of age. He was, he had the great. So he passed away in Jerusalem at the end, in the capital city of. So much more can be said about him. He did leave us with a Torah colossal work also called Makor Chayim. What was Makor Chayim? It was a shut. Shelot Shivok book, question and answers book on the Arba Turim, respectively 4 Turim, and which was, I think, divided up into various volumes, Chalikim. Now, this was printed in Jerusalem in the Hebrew year Tav Shin Samach Zayin. It happened to have been printed, respectively. So we see his the importances that he had in of itself, and. He would, I think, emigrate right at the end. His funeral services, I'd assume he was buried in Israel, but it says over here on Wikipedia English section, his funeral services were held at the Beit Mordechai synagogue in La Goulette, Tunis, and the El Khariba synagogue on the island of Jerba, where he lived most of his life. And I believe at the time period when people were giving condolences, the Tunisian president at the time, Abidine Ben Ali, would actually commemorate him and give him memory. So he passed away in Jerusalem, talking about back in December 2004. We're talking about just about, from time of recording, 20 and a half years ago, it happened to happen when he passed away. Now, I think currently the chief rabbi of Tunisia happens to be a rabbi of the name Rabbi Haim Madar, who I think is based currently in Jerba, and he currently serves as a chief rabbi of Tunisia here in current day. Also, so that's something else we've got to point out over here. So I think at the time period when Rabbi Haim Madar was born in 1933, it was under the protectorate, the French protectorate of Tunisia. The country itself was part of that window of time. Now, there's much more that can be found in regards to an encyclopedia of the great rabbis of the Sephardi countries, Ibn Mizrach to the Arzei Lebanon, where I think he is featured in a documentary or a chronicle within regards to that at that specific point in time. Remember, his rabbis included Rabbi Raphael Kadir Tzaban, Rabbi Shlomo Mazuz from Mazuz, was the famous rabbinic dynasty in Tunisia, respectively. Another one of his rabbis was Rabbi Shaul Mikikatzsheli and Rabbi Rachmim Chayuta HaKohen. These were really great rabbis of his time, and his Silula will just be just under a week before the festival of Hanukkah, 5 days to be precise, before Hanukkah itself, respectively. So, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about famous rabbis of yesteryear. Over here, we're speaking about a former chief rabbi of Tunisia, Rabbi Haim Madar. Now, if you descend from any of the great rabbis we are speaking about in this series, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information about them. If you feel you descend from any great rabbis and we haven't covered them in the series, if you check our playlist out, we've recorded nearly about 1,200 biography videos. Please let me know some more information. I'd love to research on the rabbis of yesteryear. We concentrate on the rabbis from the Ottoman countries, North African countries, Spanish countries. We try and go through the sphere of all those different medinot, respectively, and different places. And we're an online encyclopedia. If anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos also to other people also, because over here on this channel we are really exploring the life of various other things. Now on this channel also, friends, I'm telling you, all of you, please subscribe to the channel now. Now on this channel, we don't just record videos about great rabbis of yesteryear. In fact, we've recorded about nearly 120 rabbis that actually were in Tunisia, great rabbis in Tunisia at different points at the time. For example, from the Mezuz rabbinic dynasty, the Khoury rabbinic dynasty, there was the Khalifa Cohen rabbinic dynasty. There was many great rabbinic dynasties in Tunisia in of its day. So we record videos with regards to great rabbis from there. We also on this channel will record a video with a great Jewish personality of current year, a rabbi, a great rabbi who will give us a message every single day to really power-aid our day and give us a boost. We do a lot of Israel advocacy on this channel. We speak about Israel, current events going on. We try and brush into also. That's another reason to subscribe. We will record a video with regards to Parashat HaShavuot, the weekly Torah portion, and also on the Hebrew month. That's another thing we do. Another added benefit about this series over here, we record a daily tidbit, daily, let's just say, bursts of inspiration from a page in the Talmud every single day. We go like the order of what everyone's doing. It's called the Daf Yomi in Hebrew also. So we will also cover that in the channel. And one extra thing we do on this channel is we go through tours all over Israel, interesting places which maybe many people would not maybe explore all throughout the different times. So we really are getting involved in many different projects over here. I think it's very, very important that we keep doing what we're doing at the moment, and we've got a huge support. When we're talking about as many as 7,000 subscribers onto a channel, that is absolutely staggering, very promising, and very beneficial. And the beauty is we've already recorded about, it's always great to hear information about great Tunisian rabbis here. The Tunisian rabbis, especially at that point in time, made their mark in world Jewry. In a point in time, you see, it's actually interesting. We spoke about various Tunisian rabbis that happen to have been have leading roles. People from Europe would actually consult them on various different questions, important questions. Even, for example, from places, let's just say, from Hungary and Poland, people would go to the great Tunisian rabbis of yesteryear to ask them questions on various different things that was actually taking place, various different shailot, which they couldn't actually get the answers to, let's just say, respectively, in their places. So many great rabbis, I think, from Tunisia, respectively, and that's something we should speak about also, which is very, very interesting. Remember, the center place in Tunisia of Torah learning at that point in time was Jerba. That was very much, let's just say, one of the main places that we've spoken about on various occasions before. And Jerba had a Torah study. Zerzis is another place that we've spoken about here on this series. And there was also great families, especially another rabbinic family we've spoken about on various occasions before, is the famous rabbinic dynasty of the Idan family. That's one rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, which I would very much recommend everyone to look into. And she also had very close ties with the rabbis of other North African countries, especially of Morocco, to be precise, and also of Algeria. These were the three main centers at that point in time, where there was a galaxy of Torah learning, let's just say a flourishing amount of Torah learning that was taking place at that point in time all throughout. Now, it's actually interesting. We spoke about one of his rabbis, I think was Rabbi Haim Wazan. Now, it's interesting. I think there was a Wazan that actually had a prominent role in the chief rabbinate of Tunisia also. which we've spoken about before here on this class. So let's speak a bit about Rav Wazan. He lived very much at the same period of the great rabbi we're speaking about today. Rabbi Haim Madar Wazan, I think his father was Rabbi Moshe and his mother's name was Rabbi Gazala. He was born in 1918 in Jerba, so very, very similar time to Rav Madar, who we're speaking about over here. He would also, once again, be part of the great, he would also learn under Rabbi Chaim Chori. That was a great rabbi over there. I think in 1930, Rabbi Wazan, who we mentioned before, would actually move to Ben Gardan. That's another key place in Tunisia, Ben Gardan. I think it's more southern parts of Tunisia. And I think just by the border of Libya, respectively. And he would deal in trade business over there. And he would work, I think, possibly in the Arba Amot Halacha organization over there. I think that was a yeshiva or Torah institution that was based at also that point in time, with the great rabbis of the city, especially Rabbi Nissim Kohen and Rabbi Machluf Yana. Remember, Yana family was a very great Tunisian family also. I think in 1980 he himself would go to Eretz Yisrael at that point in time, also with the family. He himself passed away in 1985. But why I'm mentioning Rabbi Wazan over here, because there was Rabbi Wazan, I think, that was a chief rabbi also of Tunisia, I think just before the great rabbi we're speaking about today was. So it was a special edition today. We spoke just right now about the famous Rabbi Haim Madar, who was a chief rabbi of Tunisia in his day. So I hope this was informative. And please, everyone, subscribe to the channel. Remember, we just spoke about another Rabbi Wazan. It was Rabbi Faraji Wazan that was the chief rabbi before Rabbi Haim Madar in Tunisia at that point in time. So everyone, once again, please subscribe to the channel and enjoy the videos. And watch over. Go onto the playlist. There's a section called Stories of the Tzaddikim, and then you get a huge list of the great rabbis. Usually we record the videos at the time of the Hilula of the rabbi, at the time of the anniversary of their passing, as we call it, yard side. But today, once again, Rabbi Mahdi was passed away just before Hanukkah. Actually, we're in the middle of the month of Av at the moment over here in Israel. So take care, thanks for watching, and do well. Thank you very much.